Kim Tracy here with Paper Closet Designs. In today's video, we are going to do another quilt block. So this is the Winter Star quilt block that we're going to use for the Winter Star table runner for the class starting in November. But I thought I would get on and just show you how to assemble this block. So first off, we're going to use two tools. We're going to use the Creative Grids Kitty Corner block, or ruler, excuse me. And then you will need either a small block with a diagonal line, a small ruler with a diagonal line, or the folded corner clipper tool. This is also by Creative Grids. So those are the rulers that I'm going to use. You don't need both of these. You need one or the other. As far as the fabric goes, you need A, which is your background. You'll need two of these. You will need one B, that is your main. You will need one C, and then you will need two of the D for one block. So let's go ahead and get started. And I'm going to start with this main piece, and I'm going to use the kitty corner ruler. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to fold this in half. And you can finger press it or iron it. I usually just put a small crease in it with my iron to create this triangle, or this kite piece, excuse me. We're going to take our kitty corner, and we are going to start with step one. And we're going to take this very corner, and we're going to line it up with the corner of our fold, and then this diagonal line goes along the fold line. And I'm working around the camera, just like that, and then we're going to go ahead and cut this off. And this piece is scrap, but it's big enough you could use it for something else, so I'm just going to set it aside, and then we can go ahead and open this piece, and that is our kite. So I'm going to set that aside. The next thing is we're going to take our background pieces, and you need two of them. It will make two blocks, but you need two pieces because it needs to be mirrored. So we're going to take our fabric, and we're going to line it up right sides together. Just like that. And we are now on step two. So there is a notch on this ruler, and that is going to go on the top left-hand corner. And then there is a straight line, and that is going to go on the left-hand side of our fabric. Let's see if I can get this all in the camera. So my top notch goes on the top left, and that straight line goes down the left side of our fabric. Just like that. And if it hangs over just a hair, that's okay, don't worry about it. We're going to take our rotary cutter, and we're just going to cut it right along the edge of the ruler, holding the ruler. So there's our two pieces. Now we are going to go on to step three. And so step three, we're going to take this line and this line. It's called a saddle, and we're going to put them on the edge of this side triangle. We're still working with the two pieces that are mirrored. So I'm just going to line it up right like that. And then we're going to cut that little tip off. We're going to put that aside for the next block. We're going to do the same thing with this one. We're going to fold it, or lay it down. Both sides are matching. Take that saddle again and line it up right along the edge of that block, and then cut the tip. Okay, now we need to sew the kitty cornered block. So we have our kite piece with the top pointed up, and we want to make sure that we're getting this the right way. So right now, all of my pieces are right side up, facing the front. And if you'll look at it, it kind of forms a square. So there's a straight line, there's a straight line, there's a straight line, there's a straight line. We do have a little bit down on the bottom. That's okay, it's going to be trimmed off. So we're going to take this and fold it, the right side first. We're going to match those two straight edges, and we're going to match all along the line, the straight line. And I'm going to pin that, and then take it over to my machine and sew 1/4 of an inch from here all the way down to the tail. So let me pin that. Match up all those edges. And I'm going to go to the machine and then I will be right back. All right, once you've got your seam on there, we're going to take it over to the iron. I'm going to set the seam by just pressing it with the iron and then putting a clapper on it for just a minute. And then we're going to fold it over to the background fabric. Once that has been pressed, you'll notice that we have a nice straight edge on this side, and it is pressed towards the background. And we still have a little bit of a tail right here. That's okay. So now we want to add this piece, this left-hand side. So I'm going to lay it on here, but instead of pinning it, we're going to flip it over and pin it from the back, because we need to sew it from the back in order to get our seam allowance correctly. And this also helps with the bias, because your fabric's now on a bias, and so by doing it this direction, you're actually not pulling the bias quite so much as you would be if you were sewing from the front on both sides. So I'm just going to go ahead and pin that. I will take it over to the machine and press it, or sew it, and then I will press it, and I will be right back. Okay, so there is our finished, well, it's not finished, but our kitty corner block. We still need to trim it. I have pressed both sides out towards the background, and we still have this tail. So to trim it, we're going to bring in our ruler again, and we're going to go to trim 1, trim 2. And there is a little corner right there. That's your saddle, and we're going to put that saddle right in where all 3 fabrics come together. And then you want to make sure that this diagonal line goes through the corner. So I need to adjust it a little bit. I'm going to bring this right up close so you can see. And I'm going to trim the 2 sides. Just like that. Okay, now I'm going to flip it around, the ruler. I'm going to leave this here with the top piece at the top. And the edges that I've just trimmed, I'm going to find the mark on my ruler and line it up on both sides. Oh my goodness, I can't see. There's a glare from my window. Okay, and now I'm going to trim these 2 sides right there. I'm going to bring it down closer to me. Now we are done with this ruler, and that is the kitty corner block. And if you did the maple leaf table runner, it's the same thing. I've got a little bit of a tail there. I'm just gonna trim that off. Anyway, it's the same block that we did for the maple leaf, but now we're gonna do something different with it. So we are going to take our fabric C, and we're going to lay it on this top corner where the wide point is, and match up the 2 sides. And for this block, I'm going to show you how to do it with a straight edge, just your straight edge ruler. You can do it with the corner clipper too if you're going to do that. We're going to make sure that that is all lined up, and it will be overlapping onto the background a little bit. It should be. That's the way it should be. Okay, so now I'm going to take the straight edge, and I'm going to take the edge, and I'm going to line it up from corner to corner. And I'm going to draw a line. And my red pen does not like to show up very well on this black fabric. Okay, so once that's done, I'm going to pin both sides of that. And I'm using some pretty tiny pins right now, just because that's what I had sitting on my cutting table here. Okay, I'm going to go over and I'm going to sew from corner to corner. And there we go, there's my stitch line. Now this is called the flip and fold, or the sew and flip. I've heard it a couple of different ways, method of doing sort of like a half square triangle. This is not my favorite way to do it, but I am going to show you if you don't have the other ruler. So once it's sewn, you can come down here and you can fold this edge up and make sure that everything is matching. This is before I have pressed it, and it does. So you can unfold this, and now we can cut a quarter of an inch off your edge. If it didn't match up, you can go back, pick this out, and restitch it. That is a nice part of doing this way, is it's not cut yet, so you can fix it if you need to. I'm going to line up my 1/4 inch line right on that stitch line, and now I can take my rotary cutter and just cut right along there. These make great half square triangles. They make about a 2.5 inch half square triangle. So if you've got a project, you can save those pieces. And now I can go over to my ironing board and I can press that, or set it, and then press towards that green triangle. And there is the block so far with that all nice and pressed. And if you flip it over, you can see the seam goes towards the top triangle. So now we need to add our 2 side pieces. We're going to do these 2 pieces, and it's actually, you do it the same way, but I'm going to use the folded corner clipper ruler for this. So I'm going to take my smaller blocks. This is fabric D, and I'm going to lay it right here along the edge. I guess I could do one side at a time. Make sure everything just lines up. You do want to be pretty accurate at this point because you're not going to resize this block. This is the correct size. You're not going to resize it again. So I'm going to take my folded corner clipper, and I want my line to go from here to here. That's my seam line. So I'm going to take my flat edge and I'm going to put it at the top of this block that's right side down. I know it's really hard to see on the screen because both of these fabrics are pretty light, but this corner is right side together. I'm going to take the edge of my corner clipper and line it right up along that edge, and then match the bottom to the size of the block. And I need to spin this over so I can see it a little bit better. Once that's on there and looks good, except it doesn't, it's up too far. See, you get to see my mistakes. Okay, there we go. So that looks good. I'm going to take my rotary cutter and I'm going to just cut along the side. So I didn't have to mark it or anything, and now I can just pin it right here. And then we're going to do the same thing on this side. So I'm going to flip this over. Line that up. We want the line to go on from this corner to this corner, and we're going to cut the outside corner off. So what I'm going to do, I spin that and it didn't line up. I had to go trim my block because it was not quite the right size and it wasn't working the right way. Okay, so I'm going to lay this right along the edge. Perfect. We're going to cut this outside corner off, so I'm going to take my folded corner clipper and I'm going to put this edge along the top of that block and line it up with the block line. Just like that, and then cut it. And I do have my block in the opposite direction that I had it when I was cutting this side, and that's because I'm right-handed and I cut everything on the right. If you were left-handed, you could switch it. So I'm going to just cut this. Now I bumped it. I'm going to pin that down, and then I will take both of those to the machine and sew them, and then you will press towards these outer triangles again. So there is my finished block, and if you flip it over, everything is folded to those corners. And this should measure, let's make sure that it's measuring correctly. That side does. Whoops. And that side does. So there is your block. Thank you for joining me today. If you have any questions, let me know. Have a great day.